Hey everyone, I'm a member of the Doctor Who Toys forum. Some of my subscribers are fellow forum members. It's a great forum and I love it. However, at times there are issues between its members. Now, this happens on any forum, but there's at least one particular member who seems to go out of his way to antagonise people. I found myself at odds with him many times, and it's not just me. He joined the forum long before me, but has also been banned several times, created alts to try and return before his ban, which were subsequently outed as him, and when he returned with promises of changing his tune, nothing has ever happened. This know-all even argues constantly with the mods, often refusing to back down, and even recently, after his obnoxious comments were deleted by the mods, he insisted on reposting them. Now, I'm usually quite a calm and patient man, but recently events led me to snapping and posting a long, ranting tirade against this member, which was subsequently deleted. This was a fair decision by the mods, it's what I expected. But, upon checking the aftermath, I noticed he had once again posted and amended an offending comment that had previously been deleted. That had sparked the whole thing off for me. That's why I'm making this video, because whilst it might be hypocritical and immature and it may lose me several viewers, I wanted my side to be heard, and I thought I'd put it in a public place where he can't get rid of it. So to head back to the start of all this, he recently got into a mini-war with another forum member. This was nothing new, however this time he overstepped the mark, attacking them on their personal threads and also making thinly veiled insults that they were of, quote, lesser ability, unquote, which seemed to be an insult towards lower intelligence and or learning difficulties. Serious issues for some in real life and not something to be used as an insult. He, of course, denied that this is what he had meant, and the mod stepped in to calm the situation. He, quote, apologised, unquote, for his comments, but the party he argued with refused to apologise, a decision I could understand. This is where it all started for me. The know-all sent me a total brown-nosing, ass-kissing message, calling me a, quote, absolute genius, unquote, and a, quote, energy god, unquote, in a vain effort to try and get me onto his side. He also posted almost bowing praise on my customs thread, which would be fine, except that he's never done that to a great extent before, again a tactic to try and win me over. Now, after I've had my problems with him over the years, I obviously refused and it should have ended there. However, he later posted a comment saying how he hated people who can't let things go, and yes, I appreciate the irony of the situation. But also people who brown nose and kiss ass. Now obviously the word hypocrite springs instantly to mind, but I decided to let it go, for now. However, he later followed it up by saying he was laughing at people trying to stir up trouble again. Hypocrite. Now, it might have been slightly petty of me, but I wrote a reply saying I know what he meant. Someone, who remained nameless, sent me a real brown-nosing message calling me a, quote, absolute genius, unquote, and, quote, energy god, unquote, and it just made me laugh, which it did. He didn't seem to take too kindly to this, at which point he jumped into saying that he was laughing at kids outside Asda trying to nick the trolleys, which might have been true coming from him. I highly doubt it. This was the final straw for me. In my opinion, he'd overstepped the mark once too often, and now is my golden opportunity to take him down a peg or two. So, armed with his own quotes, and a photo of the message he sent to me as proof, I posted the following message. Actually, you're the one who's quoted as saying you were frowning at brown noses and people kissing ass. And then when you got into your spat, with name removed, you sent me a message saying how much of a, quote, absolute genius, unquote, and, quote, energy god, unquote, you think I am, before basically asking me to side with you and agree his not apologising was wrong. Not to mention your bluntly transparent and sudden, never-before-seen, out-of-the-blue attempts at bowing praise on one of my customs threads. I'm sorry, but after all the times you've baited me, including this one, and all the unnecessary insults, I can finally say, with the evidence of that message and your above quotes as proof, of the following statement, you are an immature hypocrite. You are complaining about trolls when you're being no better than them. At the end of the day, whether you were aiming it at me, other users on the forum, or you were indeed laughing at prats outside Asda, the very principle of your comments, regardless of who they were directed at, followed up with the proof of you saying the very opposite in forum posts just goes to show how much of a hypocrite you really are. So, as I'm sure there are people reading this that are silently cheering me because I've finally said the things about you that everyone else thinks, thank you, and good night. I'm going to keep myself away from the forum for a day or two to let the dust settle. I do this in good faith as I've said my piece, and I'm not prepared to get drawn into a further argument over this. If when I return, the know-all starts kicking up a fuss again because of this, it will be clear that he's a hypocrite because, to quote him, he has issues with letting things go. To any mods, by all means, if you think I've overstepped a mark here, then give me a call-off ban, or more if you think that's the right thing to do. I'll accept that as a consequence of my actions. But I've just had enough of this know-all upstart and his two-facedness, and the chance to take him down a peg, even at the cost of reducing myself to his level and being as immature as him. It was too good to pass up. And, as he seems to be allowed to repost his obnoxious comments after they've already been deleted once, I'd like to ask that this remains here too. No doubt he'll call publicly or with a brown-nosed kiss-ass PM to the mods privately for me to be banned for this. But just before you consider that, just remember how many times he's been banned, and that he's returned with promises of changing his tune, which he clearly never has. Now, as I said, this message was subsequently deleted by the mods, and again that's fair enough, I'm happy to accept that. However, the know-all's comments about the forum stink that set the whole thing off was allowed to stay. And furthermore, he amended it in a mocking tone to ask that his comments be left there, so that anyone who disagrees with him can publicly admit they were wrong. Therein lies my reason for posting this. Clearly, I was wrong to make the post on the forum. It wasn't the place for that, and I'm fully prepared to admit that. But the sheer high-handedness of him to then amend his post in an I'm always right fashion, again, it just sparked it off for me. And that's why I'm posting this here. As I've said, yes, it's petty. Yes, I'm being immature and hypocritical myself. But I want my side to be heard, and I want the world to know what kind of person he really is. And this is the place I can say it without having to worry about him running to the grown-ups to tell on me. I'd like to close by saying, if the know-all is watching this, then you brought this on yourself. You've been an immature idiot for many years now, and I'm happy to finally expose you as that, even if at the risk of becoming one myself. I'm sure you'll call for a ban on the forum again for me, but to any mods watching this, this is an off-forum private matter. I posted this to the forum and my comments were deleted. Fair enough. This is not the forum. This is my YouTube channel, and I'm free to post whatever I want on it. If he wants me to be held accountable for this, then he needs to contact YouTube, not the forum. I publicly swear and solemnly promise not to mention this incident on the forum again. If it is brought up again, it's not going to be by me, and I want you all to remember that. Finally, to any new members of the forum or anyone considering joining, don't let this put you off. Aside from a few people who spoil it, the forum is a great place to meet fellow Whovians, toy lovers and collectors, and the mods are always friendly and helpful.